So, my name is Chris Jenkins. I decided to do this video in hopes of reaching other people who have also encountered the same things as me, and just to tell the world what I have seen. I'm just going to dive right into it, so here we go. As a child, I lived in a house in Nebraska in the basement with my grandparents, and we had a window that was at ground level, sort of. You could still see outside. And every night for about a 3-month period, two gray aliens would peek through that window and watch me for about a 3-month period, like every single night. And as a child, it terrified me. I would pull the blankets up over my head and try to ignore them and, peek back out from under the blankets, and they were always still there. This went on for a little while. Then it kind of tapered off as I got older, and then it came back in full force. The next time, I was living in Nebraska, and I had taken a job at a call center, and me and my wife lived in an apartment building on like the 5th floor, if I remember correctly. Well, one night I get home from work, I'm still fully clothed, I'm sitting on my bed. It's about 8:30 at night. I was taking my shoes off. My wife at the time was standing right next to me. She was also fully clothed. And two grays walked right in through the wall, like they owned the place. They just came right in. One of them pulls out this like little metallic rod. It kind of looked like a wand, and he pointed it at us. And I felt this wave of energy hit us. And since I guess I was sitting down, I was able to like shake it off and fight through it. Whereas my wife was not. She kind of went stiff as a board and fell over right on the bed. So I kind of, fight through this wave of energy, and I look at the gray that did it, and I say out loud, "How did y'all do that?" And the gray kind of looked at me funny, kind of cocked his head, and he says, in my brain, straight into my head, he said, "How did we do what?" And then I replied back, "How did you walk through the wall like that?" And he said also, in my brain, I guess that's how they communicate telepathically. He said they hit the wall or any solid object with a beam of light. And the light increases the distance between the electron and the nucleus of atoms. And it simply increases the distance, and that allows them to pass through solid objects. And then I blacked out. So the next thing I know, I'm in a single file line somewhere in the woods, and there's a gray in front of me, my wife is behind me, and there's another gray behind her. And we're walking up this ramp to a ship. I remember distinctly how my footsteps sounded on that ramp. It was very metallic, kind of a clank, clank, clank. So then I black out again. Next thing I know, I'm standing in a big cavernous room. The room is blue metal and stone. I'm holding hands with the one gray on my right. On my left is the other gray. The one on the left runs up to a big chair in the room where there's a big tall white man sitting. The big tall white man had skin that was white as snow. His hair was white too. And the big tall white guy turns and looks right at me. And I meet his gaze, like for, I don't know, a couple seconds. I have eye contact with him. And when I had eye contact, I felt very small. It hurt. I felt physical pain. I mean, it felt like I was ashamed to look at this guy. It was very strange. So I had to turn my head because it was painful. So out of the corner of my eye, he just kind of waves his hand like, like that. And the two grays take me to this other room where at the end of the room, there's a big, tall, giant praying mantis. So as I walk into the room, I guess the grays kind of sensed my apprehension and that I was a little frightened. And in my head, I hear the grays again, and they say, He just wants to meet you. So as I walk closer to the giant praying mantis, the Greys say he wants to touch you. So the giant praying mantis sticks out his little claw-like appendage arm, and I very gingerly touched his little claw, or giant claw. So the moment I touched him, in my head I saw this other vision of millions of them crawling all over each other in these deep underground tunnels somewhere. And I felt these clicks, 3 very, very powerful, distinctive clicks. It started in my knees, and it went knees, elbows, and teeth. I felt it in my teeth. And it was so powerful, it like vibrated my entire skeleton. I felt very strange. And then I heard this deep rumbling voice in my head that was not the Greys. I assume it was the praying mantis. And the voice said, "This is how we communicate, by touch." So then, I black out, and the next thing I know, I'm sitting back in my home, on my bed. It's now 7:30 a.m. The sun is up. I'm still fully clothed, and my wife is standing right next to me, also still fully clothed. So we both were missing, anywhere from 12 hours or so. So it was very weird. Another time, I remember I woke up on Mars, or another red planet, and I was on this big dune, and I realized something's holding my hand, and I turn and I look, and it's a little Grey. I pull his hand up kind of closer to look at it. He's got 3 fingers and a thumb. The Grey points down at the bottom of the dune that we're standing on, and there's a big garden and a glass dome, and there's buildings inside, and everything is very beautiful. And the Grey says to me in my head, "There are gardens like this all around the universe." He says, "One day you will tend a garden just like this." And then I woke up in my bed. So this has been an ongoing thing for me, and I've been real hesitant to speak about it because, when you see things like this, it really kind of makes you question your own sanity a little bit. It makes you hesitant to tell other people because you're afraid of what they're going to say or how they're going to react. So I've been very quiet about it. I've told, a few random people, some selected friends, but I decided to go public because I'm looking for other people who have been through the same thing. I know there's a lot more out there than just me, but it's time, I think, that we all come together and we all share our stories because something is happening. It can't be just me. So to make a long story short, that's the reason I'm doing these videos, but it's also to tell the world what they told me. I was born and raised as a Jehovah's Witness growing up, and that part of my life never made sense, and I always questioned things, and I stumbled across things that just didn't add up. And the more I researched that, the more I saw parallels to other things. So anyway, that's kind of the reason they said that they chose me, is they said that I had a unique understanding of that book, of the Bible. And then, throughout my life too, they've kind of led me to information, they've explained things, and throughout the course of it all, I've come to a very unique understanding of what that Bible really is. So that's what these videos are for. I'm going to try to do one every month. This is just pretty much the introductory video to tell the world what has happened to me. There will be more. The next one's going to deal with alien races in the Bible, UFOs in the Bible. And just to let you know, there's a grand plan. There's stuff that's happening, and it's all got to do with the return of a planetary body to our solar system, or through our solar system. The Bible points to this too. I've come to the conclusion that the entire Bible is about that subject, the return of a celestial body that is also inhabited. So I'm going to get to that, in the next video, and I'm going to do my best to explain to the world the same thing that they explained to me. So that's why I'm doing this. They told me to. My name's Chris Jenkins. This is the truth. This is not fictitious. and I look forward to doing more of these. Thank you for listening.